Ladies and oh geez, I did it again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one of these days I'm gonna figure out all of this technology. I promise. Welcome back. This show is called The Weekly Pint. It used to not be a show because I mess so many things up all the time that I figured if I don't make it a show, I don't have to apologize for the mess ups. But since it is a show now, sorry for the mess ups. This is it's. To be truthful, this is just an excuse for us to hang out together, have a drink together, and kind of just talk about whatever is going on. Whatever is going on usually revolves around some kind of beer or drinking news, local or otherwise. But sometimes we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives because sometimes life can get a little chaotic, and we all need a chance to just sit around with a drink and hang out with each other. Julia says, don't fix the reverb intro. I love it. The funny thing is, like, the actual recorded version on the mixer does not have the reverb. The reverb only happens because it's coming from two different spots. It's kind of confusing, but if I don't switch the intro music off before I start talking, I get the reverb. I could fix that, but it would be more hassle than it's worth. It keeps the music and the intro, the video all synced up that way, and just makes it easier. Makes it easier on me. I don't know. It's again way too nerdy. Julia says, so as livers get a bonus in the intro. Keep it. So if you listen live or if you're watching the video after the fact, you'll get the reverb. If you are listening to the podcast version, you don't know what we're talking about, and you think we're all just crazy. It doesn't matter either way. We appreciate everybody the same. But if you are listening to the podcast, let that be kind of a lesson for you that this is a live show. This is recorded live. Every Monday we get together around 9:30. We hang out and we do this thing live. But yeah, the podcast is still good too. And if you're watching live, you can still download the podcast. There's nothing wrong with that. You won't get anything new or different out of it, but you won't have to stare at me. So maybe that's a positive. I don't know. There are a few things that I want to talk about tonight. But first, like I said, this is an excuse to hang out and drink together, so tell us what you're drinking. Get on the chat wherever you are and tell us what you're drinking. Let that be a reminder to you also that there is a chat. There are two different ways that you can engage with the show. I mean, you could just yell at your computer. We won't be able to hear you, but it'll probably make you feel better, and that's fine too. Or you can call into the show with this number here. That's 567-70-DRINK. We call it the drunk line, but you don't have to be drunk to call it. That's 567-703-7465. You can call in, and we'll put you on the air. Or, like I mentioned, the chat, which appears and then it disappears. Still have not tried to figure that out, but it'll pop up here in a second, and you guys can chat that way. And everything you say will pop up. If I can turn it to where I can see it, will pop up on my screen here, and we can talk that way. It's fun. But use that chat right now to tell everybody what you're drinking. And I'm going to crack open a beer. I've been wanting to try this one for a while, and huge shout out and a thanks to Josh and Julia for sending me home with this the other night. And we will talk about everything I did the other day and all of the adventures. And although hopefully there'll be a video done soon that you guys can see that. But I haven't had a chance to even touch any of the videos that I need to get done. Let's see. This is Zombie Ice. It's an undead double pale ale as opposed to a living double pale ale. I'm tweaking my lighting down here, and I'm not liking it on the can. That's okay. Zombie Ice with the zombie on it. What does it say? It says it's not normal. That's kind of their tagline. Brewed and canned by Three Floyds. Yada, yada, yada. Here we go. It says, crafted with an unholy amount of citra hops, this double undead pale ale heralds the zombie evolution after the dust has settled from the apocalypse. So it's a more modern IPA compared to what Zombie Dust is. That's, I guess, the best way to put it. Got my drink local gnarly glass. Makes everything taste better. And we're going to dive into this. Zombie Dust is one of those beers that when craft beer was young and when I was a young craft beer drinker, it was always hard to get a hold of. When you did, it kind of the hype kind of plays into that a little bit. Man, this smells good. The hype kind of plays into things tasting better. If you're expecting something crazy and something special, it's going to taste better when you finally do get to drink it, ideally. And Zombie Dust was definitely one of those. If I drink it now, I'm not blown away by it. I don't know if that's more me or more the beer or something kind of in the middle. But I don't know. Hopefully this beer kind of satisfies that maybe that memory a little bit of what Zombie Dust was to me at that time. I don't know. We'll dive in. I need like a little shelf here that I can just. Here's what I'm drinking over here, so you guys can see it. Maybe one of these days. Actually, this is in the works here soon. One of these days, very soon I'm going to dive in and finish up some of the things in this studio. Not that you guys can see it, but this side over here sometimes gets a little nuts, and so I'm trying to organize that better and get it more functional. And then some other stuff over here that maybe you'll see from time to time, depending on how the camera is set up. But then this wall here is going to get something to make it look a little cooler. And there'll be a couple other things that happen back here on that back wall to make it look a little cooler. But that's neither here nor there. The beer is drinking the OEC Lint beer. I don't know. OEC. What is OEC? Brewbuck Homebrew is drinking homebrew using missing link yeast and co-fermented with a Pinot Grigio and wine yeast. Ooh, that sounds good. I didn't get down to missing link early enough to get to see any of the homebrew stuff happening, which I'm kind of upset about because I think that would have been cool. I like the inclusion of homebrew beer, and from what I'm understanding, there was a lot more of it this year, so that's exciting. All right, let me dive into this Zombie Ice. It looks a lot darker on the camera than it does kind of in person. Here, I'll hold it over here by the light. You can maybe see. It's definitely a little hazy, a little dark, a little honey kind of orange yellow color. Let me stick my nose in here. Oh yeah, Citra hops. You know what? Like straight Citra does kind of smell nostalgic to me. So many beers are Citra and something else now. OEC is from Oxford, Connecticut. They've had it on draft at Standard Beer. They do a lot of oak-aged lagers and things. I don't know if I've had any OEC. OEC. Maybe I have. I don't know. All right, I'm going to dive into this. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh man, that's really good. It's not as bitter as I was anticipating it being. It still is that kind of I don't want to call it soft, but it is kind of leaning into the soft kind of juicier kind of realm. That is not what I was expecting from this beer, but I like it a lot. That's really good. I don't typically stock the fridge with tons of non-local beers just because there are so many local ones that I want to drink. But this is one that could make its way into my fridge. That's good. I don't know that it's better than like West Side Dippa or something like that, but yeah, I could knock back a few of those, and they would probably knock me around a little bit if I did. What's ABV? Yeah, 8.5%. That does not taste like 8.5%. That's what you would call dangerous. Marco says, Gnome said 3 Floyds is soft, and I quote. I mean, it's a little soft, but it's good soft. Soft is okay. We don't have to fear being soft. We can let our soft side show every once in a while. Let's jump into. Hang on, let me take another drink before we jump into anything. That is good. Mm. Okay, let's jump into this week's topics, because there's some good stuff. Lots of crazy stuff happened. Not crazy. Lots of good stuff happened this weekend that I do want to to talk about. Marco says, like, dryer sheet soft. There, up here. There we go. Fabled Brew Works opened up this weekend. You guys hopefully listened to this week's Brewcast. Sat down with everybody, not everybody. Sat down with a couple of the guys from Fabled Brew Works as they were kind of putting the finishing touches on things, kind of getting ready for the grand opening. Drank a bunch of their beers, which were all fantastic. Drank some mead, which was great. I really, really, really like what these guys are doing down there. Not only is the beer good, not only the people, great people, but that tap room, it has so much personality, and I don't know how much of that factors into this other part that I want to talk about, but it definitely is unlike any other tap room that I've ever been in. It has so much personality that it kind of becomes one of those places that you just have to go check out. And they were slammed all weekend. I don't know if you guys were kind of watching on social media, but my goodness, people definitely showed up to check out their grand opening, which that's unfortunately not normal anymore. I mean, people get busy the day they open, but to have an entire weekend like that where you are lines out the door kind of busy has become a rarer occurrence in craft beer. People just don't seem to get excited about brewery openings. Julia says, I can't wait to get down to Fabled. On one hand, I want to let the initial crowds die down, but at the same time, I want to get there before they run out of beer. I'm sure that they are just brewing their butts off right now to try to keep things going, but they were definitely busy, and I don't know how much of that busyness is the location, an area that just needs a lot more breweries than what they have. How much of it is excitement over seeing John Ewers from Listerman, and then from Streetside kind of starting his own thing. How much of it is just because the weather was perfect. Let's see. I was there on Thursday at like 3 p.m. with no line, but I think by 5, it was about 30 people long. Yeah, timing factors into a lot of that, especially when you're talking during the week. If you can get to a place before everybody gets out of work, there you go. Cincinnati loves a new brewery. More great options. When will the bubble burst? Oh, I love that question. When will the bubble burst? It won't. I mean, there are definitely breweries, currently open breweries, that are struggling. There are breweries that are currently open that when we talk this time in a couple of years, they will not be open. But that doesn't mean that there won't be other places that come along. I still think that the overall number of breweries in the city is going to keep growing for a while. It will not grow as fast as it was maybe in 2017. But it'll keep growing because there is still so much room for somebody to do something. This idea of a bubble, I don't buy it that it's a thing. I think that it all depends on what you're doing. Now, that being said, we're not going to see other breweries like Rheingeist or even like Mad Tree or or even probably like Braxton. These big kind of things that become these. Not that any of those are kind of regional things, but these big breweries, I think, are a thing of the past. I think if you can create a smaller kind of taproom experience, then you're golden. Find the right spot, I guess, is the other part. But there are still a lot of pockets in the city that are desperate for a brewery, or for, even if they don't know that that's what they're desperate for. I think they are. I think that there are places that that need their own spot. So I don't think the bubble is even close, if there is a bubble, which I don't think there is. That being said, nationally, obviously there's some things happening with which we'll talk about in a minute, but that are kind of shifting what craft beer looks like on a national scale. Again, regional breweries are hurting right now. Let's see. I mean, we're still down net local breweries in the last 2 years, right? We've just seen an uptick on other breweries like Highwire come in. Yeah, I mean, that depends how you look at it. I'd have to actually look at the numbers, but I don't think so. Let me pull it up here and just kind of see. So we'll take... Oh, of course, I didn't update my numbers. I haven't updated since 2022. Okay. We have... so closures in places that have closed. We had in 2022 Rivertown, Rebel Metal, Off Track, and then if you want to count Platform, and then the Trail House. Yeah, I haven't updated my list since Rolling Mill. Braxton Labs. When did Braxton Labs close? Man, I guess this is a project for tomorrow, is that I need to update my notes. Braxton Labs. Anyway, maybe somebody can look that up instead of me trying to sit here and do it while you guys are listening. But you have had, we'll call it maybe 5 that closed in 2022. If my math is just very quickly off the top of my head correct. And then you had January of 2022. Okay, thank you guys. So we'll say 5 that closed in 2022. We also had in 2022. Now OTR Stillhouse officially opened the very end of 2021. If we count that, maybe. Lost Bridge Beverage Company, although they still have not, as far as I know, I need to actually check up on that, have not made a beer. They are making cider. They are distilling. They're going to make beer. We'll call that a half, maybe. Paradise opened their second location, which is a full-fledged brewery out in Williamsburg. We have North High opened a Kinwood Taproom. Again, if you guys want to count that, which we won't for the sake of argument. Barleycorns opened down in Wilder. I guess that's Wilder, right? Muller Brew Barn took over the Rivertown space. You had Lebanon Brewing Company open up in Lebanon. Northwood Cider, if we count that. And so what is that? That's four official breweries, 2 cideries, 1 tap room, and this is, again, my notes are very incomplete here. I don't know that I would call it a net loss. And then in 2021, we had North High Hyde Park, which is obviously closed since then. We had the Trail House, which opened and then closed the next year. And although that was definitely not a brewery, it was a tap room. We had West 6th open the Box Park Tap Room. We had Wooden Cask open a tap room at Newport. We had Bierkus Covington open a tap room. We have, and then OTR Stillhouse. There has been some stuff happening, but it's not been breweries in the traditional sense. Elijah says, episode title tonight, I'm always going to be and get excited. The excitement kind of plays into this Fabled Brew Works that people are. It's still an exciting thing when a place opens. Brewbuck says Lebanon Meadery closed a year or so ago. Yeah, the Dysfunctional Delights. I don't have an actual date on that. I will update that in my notes tomorrow. That's one of my tasks. Although he is, for anybody that doesn't know, Brad, I think is his name, is now down at Fabled Brew Works making their mead. So he is still kind of doing his thing, just within a kind of bigger project, which is, I love his stuff, but that's probably the better way to go with mead right now. I don't think we're ready yet. Although we have to be close. Maybe the right location. And a meadery could kind of exist, but Cincinnati is just still kind of strange about stuff like that. Like the fact that we finally got a cidery is a big deal, and I think we are just kind of hitting that point where we're ready for some other things to exist, be it a meadery or be it a sake brewery, things like that. I think that you pick the perfect location for it, and the city could support a couple of those types of places. I'm excited about that. But to go back to that original question, I'll have more kind of data on it maybe next week, or maybe I'll write a post or something, or some kind of social media post. But we are, I wouldn't call it a wash. I wouldn't call it a wash at all. I think we are, we're not, I wouldn't call it a wash. I think we're up. Dysfunctional Delights closed in late 21, I think, so not 22. Lee says, I've been to Lebanon Brewery 3 or 4 times in the last month with my wife and kids. Do you know much about that brewery? All I know is they have really good beer and food. I know a little bit, but not a ton. I should probably send an email this week. We were trying to get a show booked earlier this year, and then all of my stuff that was happening with the website and everything happened right at the time we were talking about scheduling a show. So I told him that we'd kind of have to postpone a little bit, and then he was out of town for something. So we'll get a show soon, and we'll talk to Lebanon about what they're doing. Sean says, have you heard anything more about Ace coming? That is a great question, one that we haven't really talked about on this show, or I don't think I've talked about it at all. That Ace, the cider manufacturer, has talked or is talking about doing a tap room here in Cincinnati. I don't know if the other cidery opening up factored into their plans at all, but I talked to them a little bit late last year about getting together and doing a show. Oh, Marco says the drunk line is not open. That's my fault. Hang on. Do not disturb is now off. My bad. And they said, yep, we're definitely planning something. We'd love to talk to you. Give us after the holidays. So after the holidays, I reached back out, and they said, oh, yep, sorry, that has been kind of put on hold for a while. So I don't really know what that means, but as of right now, there's talk of that happening, but it's not anytime soon. Julia says, is the place up near Hamilton that was slated to open in the old electric utility building still in motion? I don't know for a fact if they are still working on it. Trunk line is ringing. Hang on. I am assuming that this is Marco. Although it would be funny if...
Hello.
Hello. It would be funny if somebody else saw that you were calling and then called right before you could. Let me answer Julia's question real quick. What is that place called? The Amp House Brewing. They did a Kickstarter probably late last year that did not go very well. So I don't know how much that ball is rolling. From what I still understand, though, it is still happening, or is still planned to happen. But I haven't heard a whole lot recently about it. So that's kind of a non-answer answer. What's up, Marco?
What's up, Gnome? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a good day. And
Yeah,
I always
doing
like when you
doing great
call in
myself.
because it gives me a chance to drink.
Yeah, well, go ahead and drink. Tell everyone what you're drinking because that's what we do. Like when you're a responsible, podcaster or broadcast, whatever it is, whenever someone else is talking, that's when you drink.
That's right.
That's one of my biggest uh, in the know things for anybody who is trying to do a podcast. Like, hey,
it's an important lesson to learn.
Yeah, make sure you alternate, talking and drinking. Anyways, so what I called in because it's been a while.
It's been
Been
a
a
while.
while. Been a while.
We did
Anyways,
hit that perfect for everybody that's listening. I know there's a delay for you, but it'll sound good on the podcast.
wonderful. But your theme of it's okay to be excited. I absolutely, like you and many other people, saw Fabled Brew Works coming together via social media. Which, by the way, anybody who is trying to, get on or start a brewery, obviously has many templates to follow, be it cartridge or other places, Bach Family Brewing, or all these, many other places where social media is hitting you, and yes, you should hit people social media as you lead up to an opening, but social media posting the tree going in, and then continuing to build that theme that they have going in is great. But the other thing is too, so Gnome, a part of what was really exciting, and I think part of what really got a lot of the public interested was absolutely the brewer and the brewer's lineage.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of us 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, we were excited for um, home brewers that had a lot of accolades, or for home brewers that got a lot of people together who, decided they were gonna, come together and make something of it. And those things have vetted out to be great, like, Kelly with
Yeah.
his endeavors, and the brewer who's a founder over at Fretboard, and other people of that nature who were grinding in homebrew sense. But now what you have is, with this established uh, uh, you know uh, a brew,
Yeah.
we are an established market. We're an established place. You have brewers that have gone from one place to another, and one learned things, and you know um I mean, yeah, I could even speak from personal experience. Like, if the people I brewed with are going to go and do something, I mean, we have a lot of experience, and we can go and do. The point is, this person, the craft beer community has a lot of faith in, because of his amazing accomplishments at his previous places. So we had a lot of faith and confidence in his, opening array of beers. And I didn't make it there, but I hope to make it there soon. And but the hype did not disappoint. But that's because we have a competent brewer. Yes, new system. You go into it in your podcast. It's great insight, but um, we're a matured craft beer market to where even a few years ago, even talking about cartridge didn't take on a home brewer that was trying to elevate themselves. They went out and got a brewer from an established brewery. And I mean, that's your story to tell. I'm not going to tell it. But they got an established brewer from an established brewery from out of the state. But we expected a lot out of John. And from all accounts, John brought it. And so congratulations to Fabled Brew Works. Congratulations to them for bringing together, the theme, bringing together the beer, and congratulations and just all the success to them. It's okay to be excited, and as you cover in your podcast, it's okay to not really fit into necessarily the theme or whatever it is. You can go there and just get good beer. You don't have to be, you don't have to put on your pointy ears,
Right.
or your eye makeup, or you don't have to have like there's not a Hobbit foot contest where like
there might be at some point. I don't know.
maybe a podiatrist is going to catch on, and we're like, hey, we're gonna straighten out them toes for you or something. But anyways, but congratulations to them. And we have all the faith in John, because he's been there, he's done that, he's provided a lot of hype beers,
A lot of great stuff
for this community, and a lot of great stuff. And so I've been a long time listener, first time caller for the past I don't know, 6 weeks. But I'm gonna get off here and listen to your comments off of there. But anyways, good to see you on TWP. For those of you who are not catching up, that means the weekly pint.
That's the lingo.
So, yeah, and so anyways, cheers, buddy. Cheers, brother, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Cheers, buddy. So what I think is so interesting to me, one of the many things about this excitement around Fabled is, yes, people are excited about John coming in there after being at Streetside, after being at Listerman, but at the same time, we've had these, or I've had, maybe you guys have also had some of these same conversations with people that the beer nerds don't matter, and I fully support that idea that we spend a lot of time in our little circles or in our little groups talking to each other, and we think that this bigger picture of beer or of craft beer kind of mirrors these things that we're talking about. And so when we hear, John Ewers he's coming from Streetside, he's going to start his own project, this is going to be amazing. We expect that, and we're like, this place is going to be a hit. There's going to be people lined up out the door to see what he's doing kind of in his new spot. And then, rightfully so, or rightfully so maybe, other people will remind us, look, the average person that's out there drinking craft beer doesn't know who the hell he is. They don't. They probably don't really even care. They just want to go grab a beer, and that's probably true. But then when you start to see some of these places that do get this kind of momentum behind it, you do start questioning, maybe a lot of people do care about that. Maybe more people now recognize somebody that was at Street Side, you can say this guy used to brew at Street Side, then we give credit for. When today there was a I don't know if it was today or this weekend, I don't know. Time doesn't make sense. There was a discussion online. Some people were ragging on Braxton about some old Tropic Flair. And somebody brought up, well, maybe the guy that used to make it at Labs, maybe if he's got another thing going on, maybe they'll have something that kind of tastes like, like Tropic Flair. That is fresh. And, my first instinct is, great, for those of us geeks that appreciate that or want that, that's going to create some hype around the brewery, but it's also, not the majority of people. They're going to be in that place drinking beer. But I think it's more people than we're giving it credit for that do care about that kind of stuff. I think that craft beer has grown to a point now that it might mean something. And so, for a lot of time, a lot of in recent history, I think anytime you get excited about something with craft beer, there are a lot of people that are ready to kind of to smack that down and remind you that beer as a as a segment is shrinking. That when seltzer was growing, that seltzer is killing beer. Now they're going to tell you that spirits are killing beer, and people are very quick to shut down excitement. And that's kind of the theme of this episode, is just to remind you that you don't have to shut down your excitement. Get excited about beer. That's what makes all of this so freaking fun sometimes, is getting excited about stuff. So that's the point of it. Anyways, to get past Fabled, although I could talk about them all day, I could sit in that little tap room. I still have not been there at nighttime yet, and I am just I that's what I need with the string lights and the thunderstorms and everything. Please, I need to get down there at nighttime and have a drink. So that's probably coming soon. I'll just to go there and just drink, not for any kind of actual. Although I have to make videos, I can't just go somewhere. Sticking with the local theme, sticking with some of the events from this weekend. Missing link. I always forget, because it's when I'm looking at the monitor, it's right there. But it's right there for you guys. Right there. Missing Link Festival happened this weekend. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it because I did have to go to the, I shouldn't say have to, huge thanks to Oakley Beer Festival for inviting me out there. You guys will hear the podcast next week. Maybe we can explain more on that. But I wasn't sure if I was going to make it down to Missing Link this year. And since I missed it last year because I was on vacation with the family, of my family up there thumping around, but I wasn't able to go. I was determined to make it this year. They were doing the first ever Bigfoot calling competition, which was hilarious. It was a blast. And then to get to try a couple of the Missing Link beers. Didn't get to try nearly as many as I wanted to, but I did get to try a couple of them. It was I made it, and I had an absolute blast. I'm curious who else made it. I know we talked a little bit about the home brewing stuff. I really am upset that I missed that. I would have liked to get there a little bit earlier, so I could have just kind of hung out outside a little bit and just kind of relaxed a little bit. Julia says that Elijah Moreland was robbed. I agree. Elijah was one of the contestants in the Bigfoot calling competition, and he was fantastic. Stay tuned. I can guarantee he will make the next vlog that comes out whenever I get that done, because it was amazing. But yeah, I enjoyed the festival a ton. I enjoyed all of the beers that I tried. I love the idea of this festival. It has more personality than I can even begin to explain. Hopefully, you guys have kind of gathered that from the times that we've talked about it with Brett and Mike. Go back to Bachfest, and we talked a little bit about Missing Link during that show. I don't know which episode it was. It was in March. Just go back. You can find it on Cincy Brewcast, not on this show. Although I'm sure we talked about it on this show at some point, but they weren't on it. I still have never. Nope, that's not true. I have had guests on the Weekly Pint. Usually when we're recording it somewhere else, which has happened, and maybe it'll happen again sometime. I gotta figure out the setup. I feel it is to go behind the curtain a little bit of the nerdy stuff. It is way more comfortable and way easier to fire up the live show here in the comfort of the studio than it is somewhere else. Usually, I mean, knock on wood, and we've all seen those, or everybody that's a regular watcher of this show, we've all seen those episodes where it doesn't work properly, but usually things just work exactly the way they're supposed to. Things are nice and smooth. There's a spot to set the camera. There's lights. There's a fridge in the corner. It's all very nice and comfortable. But there may be some kind of mobile setup in the works. There may even be some guests here in the studio at some point too. This studio is not very conducive to have another person in it right now, the way it's set up. But working on a couple things out in kind of the main part of the basement here that will definitely be conducive to guests here in studio, at the bar, or somewhere else down there. Anyways, that's completely off topic. Missing Link was great, but I definitely wanted to mention it because it was a big part of my weekend. But you'll get more of it in the vlog whenever that gets done. Going back to kind of we were talking a minute ago about the bubble and breweries closing or opening or not. We got to talk about this one. Duke Law. Duke Law has been acquired by River Horse Brewing. So coming right off of the Guinness Brewery in Baltimore, them announcing that they were going to shut down production there, or most of the production. I think they might have a pilot system that'll stay there. I don't know. I should probably read more about that. Right after them announcing that, then Flying Dog was acquired, and they announced that they were going to move all of the production from them out of state. Now, Duke Law. Duke Law has been acquired, and they're moving all of the production to New Jersey. They laid off. I've heard conflicting reports of this, that they laid off all the production staff, but then saw another report that they did offer them new jobs with the other company if they were willing to go there, I guess. Brewback. So the place in Baltimore, the Open Gate. I don't know that the whole facility is shutting down, but they are not going to be. It is not going to be a production brewery anymore. I think that, like I said, I think that there is still a pilot system that'll be there making something. Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's a whole story within itself. The city was offering a ton of money for somebody else to be able to pick up the Baltimore Blonde recipe and contract brew it or something. I don't know, man. There's a whole lot going on there. But Duke Law is they've been brewing for 25 years, and Duke Law, and this is my opinion as a craft beer drinker. Not that I drink a ton of Duke Law, but I've had a few, and I don't think that it has the power that it did when it first came here to Cincinnati. I think that it's like a lot of regional brands, it just loses some of that pop behind it, and I think that that's where a lot of these places are going to be in the next couple of years. If you are, they were in 21 different states. If you're that type of brewery, it's going to be a rough go, and so you're seeing these craft on craft mergers that kind of turn them into bigger companies to kind of give them a little bit more wiggle room. But they're moving all of the production, like I said, out of Baltimore to this River Horse Brewing to expand kind of their production there. But they're going to still kind of manage them as separate brands. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think the fear with that always for fans of a brewery like that not that I'm super familiar with Ducal, is that it just gets watered down to those one or two things that kind of speak to the masses. Is it just sweet baby Jesus, and that's all we're seeing now? And maybe that'll happen, but it's sad to see some of that stuff happen. It's also good to see that it's not just going away, that somebody is kind of bringing it into a conglomerate and keeping the brands and keeping that alive a little bit. But time will tell what happens with it. Up next, we have some spirits news. I do like to drink other things other than beer. And P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever his name is now, he is suing Diageo. So if you are not familiar, he has a couple different spirits brands. This is his tequila that's sitting there on the table. He's accusing Diageo of breaching their business agreement by deliberately withholding investment in his liquor brands due to racial bias. He's calling them racist, like just straight up. In a complaint filed with the New York Supreme Court, he asserted that the company demonstrated a reluctance to treat its black partners equally despite Diageo's public claims of being a diversity leader. He goes on and says that they dealt a severe blow to his Ciroc vodka and his De Leon tequila brands, that's the stuff here, by intentionally depriving them of essential resources after categorizing them as black brands solely intended for urban consumers. Diageo, of course, released a statement. They deny all of that. They described its 15-year partnership with P. Diddy, Puffy, whatever his name is, as productive and mutually beneficial. The company says that it's a business dispute, and they are extremely saddened that he has chosen to recast this matter as anything other than that. So my first instinct on hearing all of that is that Diddy is digging into something that may not really be there. In the lawsuit, they kind of they go into explain that Diageo is giving better to support to other competing celebrity-backed liquor brands. Casamigos is one of theirs. That was George Clooney's. Everybody knows that. And Aviation, which was Ryan Reynolds. Both of those are white guys, if you don't know. They're saying that they're giving that more attention than stuff like Ciroc or I don't remember what the name of this tequila is. What is it? De Leon. I've never even heard of that. So so maybe there's something to that. Supposedly, though, it goes on in this lawsuit, which is where this gets interesting. Supposedly, one of Diageo's managers openly acknowledged the racist undertones within the company, informing Mr. Diddy that race played a role in restricting the distribution of the Combs brands. That's his actual last name is Combs, and suggesting that things will be different if he were, Martha Stewart. So, if you've got people within the company actually saying things like that, he's definitely got some a couple legs to stand on here. I recognize that there are still racists around us. I cannot believe I do. I am ashamed to believe that it is still this bad in this country, that people are still racist. It blows my mind. It's sad. It's disheartening. Again, not that I know or think that Diageo is, but if something like this is true, and we hear it with other brands, other things going on. The Founders stuff, they're in the middle of another lawsuit right now about racial discrimination. Come on, like what in the world are we doing? Like, how is this 2023? We've got the government telling us that they got UFOs flying around, and we're still worried about what color somebody's skin is. It's ridiculous. So, if this is true, I stand behind Mr. Diddy. It's It's sad. Josh says the only reason I heard of Aviation Gin was because it made news when Ryan Reynolds sold it. Yeah, I think he still owns a piece of it. I think, or he is still brand ambassador or something. Same thing with George Clooney. The only reason I kind of really knew about it was because he sold it. When again, he's still some kind of brand ambassador. All of these celebrity brands are very strange to me, anyways. It's I don't know. There's a lot of them out there. Let's move on from racism, because to hell with people that whatever. Seltzer. You see my nice little graphic with a giant, nice cold glass of seltzer in the middle of a graveyard, because over and over again we keep seeing all this news that seltzer is dying. Nobody cares about seltzer anymore. It's evidently right now it's about the hard tea. It is, which is interesting. Not that I'm doing a full thing on it, but going to the Oakley Beer Fest, I don't think there was any seltzer there that I could think of. Yet we had Turtles Brew was there with their hard tea. It's tea and bourbon inside this drink, which I love. And then the guys from Wild Ohio, that's not called that anymore. Wild Tea, something like that. They were there with their hard tea. So there were multiple teas and no seltzer. Julia says no Astra at Oakley Beer Fest. No Astra. There's a whole discussion there. And I don't know this from March 1st's perspective or Astra as a brand. I did hear from some other brands that were not there that they had heard, and I don't know any truth to this, that not only were they asked to pay a fee to be there, that they were also then pressured to find a way to give the beer away for free. So there are definitely some brands that did not attend because of that rumor. Puff Daddy should make seltzer. Find your niche. Evidently, seltzer's dying. It's a bad idea. There are seltzer is strange. It obviously grew very fast, very quickly. But even now, there are still 4 brands that make up 92% of the market. It's those 4 brands. Now, locally, obviously, Astra is doing some really incredible things, but it's a blip on the national radar. There's you obviously have this thing happening with White Claw. You have Truly, Vizzy. Those are the brands that are making a difference. It's the big guys still. It's always about the big guys. It was flourishing for a while, like extremely, because it was new. It was people wanting to try something. They don't like beer. I shouldn't, generalize that like that, but the majority of people that were drinking beer drinking seltzer did not like beer, and they were looking for something that satisfied them. It was simple. It's straight up just one flavor or one recognizable flavor. You obviously have 2 things in there, but it was lime seltzer. Just real simple, real easy, real comfortable. The marketing of it being this better for you, and obviously we're not calling it healthy, but this better for you thing, you got to have something bigger behind your marketing for it to really stick long term. The reason craft beer resonates with people is not because they like Citra hops. That plays into it, but it's this other stuff around craft beer that satisfies us as consumers, that makes us keep going back. The reason Big Beer, whoever that brand is, the reason that works is because people associate it with this other thing, this nostalgia, this community that they have. That's like, oh, this is what my dad drank. This is what my grandpa drank. This is what America drinks. Whatever it is, it becomes this bigger thing that resonates with people. Seltzer doesn't have that. Seltzer is fizzy water, fizzy alcoholic water that's got some flavor in it. Like it doesn't sit with people the same way. So Seltzer has to figure something out, and companies like March 1st with Astra are really kind of doing a great job of figuring that out, tapping into nostalgia, tapping into this other thing. The innovation side of seltzer is extremely lacking. It just becomes new flavor. We're gonna try a dragon fruit. Okay, then the next time it's just another new flavor. It's hollow. It's empty. It's shallow. It's not what people want. And I predict that hard tea will have a moment, and then people will move on past that to something else, and then that will have a moment, and then they'll move on to something else, because none of it satisfies people in the same way that these other things are. The things that really are popping have more substance to them. And that's not to take away from seltzer or hard tea. They're fine, whatever. You can drink what you want to what you want to drink, obviously, but it just doesn't satisfy. It doesn't satisfy the soul. I will stand by that. That's all I got for you guys. Not to rant and rave too much about the merits or lack thereof of seltzer or hard teas. I actually kind of like some of the hard teas a lot. The Geist tea, I have some of that here in the fridge, not in an ironic way. Tagabrew says, agree. Thoughts on if hard cider is different? Hard cider can be different. I think, and this is obviously just my opinion, I think the hard cider industry has to figure out a way to not try to turn it into seltzer, or not try to turn it into these other kind of beverages. You got to go hard into the fact that it's seltzer, or that it's cider. You have to Freudian slip. That it's the actual craft side of cider. You got to believe in it, and unfortunately, a lot of cider was or is being made just to satisfy people who just don't like beer, and that's not the right way to do it. Elijah says cider is hugely different, or it should be. It should be. Everybody doesn't want to drink candy when it comes to cider, and the places that are figuring that out, I think, have a huge chance of being successful, and could capture a big chunk of the market, because you could get some of those drinkers that are just looking for something different, that don't like beer, and you could hold them if you provide that same feeling that we get from craft beer as a cider. We'll see. I think that there's when I see some of the places opening up, the Northwood cider, it's exciting to me to see them doing what they're doing. I think there's a lot of potential for places like that to pop up. But the market has to keep growing, and you got an uphill battle trying to teach people about it. People get beer now, and so it's easy to kind of open up a place and people walk in, and you don't have to teach them as much. With cider, there's a lot of education that has to still come when people walk into to your cidery. You gotta teach them about it. Elijah says, remember when March 1st opened? They were primarily ciders. Kind of miss that. I kind of miss that too. I liked what they were doing. When they opened, they had an incredible cider maker on their staff there. Go back and if you want a mission this week, go back and peruse the archives of Cincy Brewcast. Much easier to do on thegnarlygnome.com, where all of the episodes of Cincy Brewcast are, and look for March 1st and look at that. Listen to that first episode where we were kind of sitting down talking about who they were, what they were going to be. It's a really, really interesting evolution of March 1st. I definitely miss the dry lime cider. There were a couple things there that I miss a lot. There were some good ciders. I miss cider at March 1st. If only there was somebody that could pass that along. That's it, guys. That's the show. That's it for tonight. We'll be back next week. We'll have more fun beer or booze news for you to to sit and talk about with all of us and to drink along. Maybe next week I will whip up a cocktail for the show instead of just always drinking beer. Keep things exciting. Make something fun. If you guys really like this show or any of the shows or any of the things that I do, you know the drill. You can support by going to thegnarlygnome.com/support. And you can kick money in every month, and it helps keep all of this stuff moving, improving. It pays for things like equipment or hosting fees or all of that. Bail money, who knows? But we'll be back. We're not stopping anytime soon. It's always going to be free to you also. You don't have to support. Just appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Thank you guys very much. Official. On the show next week, we drink Negronis, which means you guys all go get some Campari if you don't have it in your house already. Negronis next week.